What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wager Zone podcast. So we're going to be breaking down our NFL playoff predictions. I'm going to let you guys know exactly how I think the playoffs are going to go, exactly who I think is going to win the Super Bowl, and I'm going to let you guys know exactly what my predictions are going to be for this year's playoffs, everybody. So this is exactly how I have. If you paid attention to our division winners, these are exactly how the bracket's going to come out too. We're going to have Jacksonville at 4, playing against the Ravens at 5. We're going to have the Bengals at 2, playing against the Jets at 7. The Bills playing against the Texans. The Bills at 3, Texans at 6. We're going to have the Buccaneers at 4, playing the Packers at 5. Cowboys at 2, playing San Francisco at 7. And the Rams at 3, playing Philadelphia at 6. So this is all the wild card games, guys. So as you guys know of, so the two teams that have a bye, that's going to be the Lions have a bye, and the Chiefs have a bye for this for the wild card first round of the wild card game, guys. So let's get into this first game. It's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Ravens. I think this is going to be a really good game. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wager Zone podcast, and we are back for another NFL breakdown for you guys. I'm going to be breaking down my playoff predictions, who I think is going to win a Super Bowl, let you guys exactly know how I think the playoffs are going to be going down and what matchups. So let me just go over this wild card around for you guys. It's going to be number 4 and 5 are going to be going against each other. It's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Baltimore Ravens. It's going to be 2 and 7 going on with the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the New York Jets. It's going to be the Bills taking on the Texans at number 3 and 6 going at each other. The Buccaneers at 4 taking on number 5. Green Bay Packers, number 2 Cowboys taking on number 7 San Francisco. Number 3 Rams going against the number 6 Philadelphia Eagles. So this is exactly how I think the wild card round is going to actually fill out at the end of the season, guys. I think the Chiefs and the Lions are going to end up having the bye in the first round. So let me show you exactly how I think this first round is going to. Alright, guys, this is exactly how I have the wild card round filling out. I have the Baltimore Ravens beating the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. They're going to be playing in Jacksonville, and I think the Ravens are actually going to go in there and beat Jacksonville in the wild card round, and it's going to end up giving us that divisional matchup where it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Bengals are going to end up beating the Jets at home. I think Joe Burrow is going to be having a great season. He's going to lead his team to great things in this year, and I think they're going to end up beating the Jets. And then if we go down to the Bills versus Texans, I think Josh Allen's going to end up going out there and having a great playoff game against CJ Stroud. I know a lot of people all over the Texans this year. I see people picking CJ Stroud as MVP. I see people picking the Texans to go to the Super Bowl, but I'm a believer in the Bills. I'm a believer in Josh Allen, even though he has a lot of his receivers are gone. Stephon Diggs has left, and it's going to be all on him this year. But I do believe he's going to have an MVP-type season. He's going to have that Cam Newton-type year that Cam Newton had a few years back. And I think that I'm going to be taking the Bills to actually beat the Texans. So, yeah, guys, that's how the AFC is going to be going out. It's going to be the Kansas City against Baltimore, Bengals against the Bills. And that's how the divisional round is going to be coming out. So now let me go down to the NFC, where I think the Green Bay Packers are going to end up going into Tampa Bay and beating the Buccaneers. I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan, but I'm going to tell you guys this right now that they're not going to beat the Packers. The Packers are a great team. Jordan Love looks legit. Matt LaFleur looks like a legit coach. That team is very young. They're getting better every single year. So I have the Packers moving on to the next round, taking on the Lions. And then we're going to go down to the Cowboys and Niners. I have the Cowboys actually beating the Niners this year. I think the Niners are going to end up too hurt. I think they're going to barely get into the playoffs. I think they're going to have too many injuries. And the Cowboys, I think they're going to have a great season. They're going to be playing at home. We all know how good they are at Jerry World. Last year, they got embarrassed at Jerry World by the Green Bay Packers. But I think this is the year they do not get embarrassed at home in the first playoff game. I think they're going to get a playoff win. And I think the Cowboys are going to move on to the next round. And then we go to the Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to be playing in LA. This is probably going to be the most competitive match out of the whole entire wild card match, in my opinion. I mean, the whole entire wild card round, in my opinion. I think the Rams are going to end up moving on. I think it's going to be a very close game, but the Rams are going to end up beating the Eagles. I'm a Rams fan, so I might actually be biased on this, but still, guys, I do like the Rams this year. I like their team. I like how good they did last year. Now they're bringing it over to the next year. They're all young. They're bringing Matt Stafford back. And yeah, guys, I like the Rams to move on. So if we look at their next round matchups, it's going to be Kansas City against Baltimore, Bengals against the Bills, Lions against the Green Bay Packers, and then the Cowboys against the Rams. So these are all really good divisional round matchups, and let me show you guys exactly how That's right, guys. I actually have the Baltimore Ravens going into Kansas City and beating them this year. I do not think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to three-peat. It's very hard to three-peat. Their team is getting older. Kelsey is more worried about his podcast at the moment. Like, he has a podcast with his brother. The podcast is doing great. He's with Taylor Swift now. I think the man is looking at things after football at the moment. I think this is going to be the last dance for them, but I don't think they're going to make it. I do not think a team's going to be able to three-peat in today's NFL. The last time somebody actually three-peated, people always say no one's ever three-peated in the NFL. Yes, no one's ever three-peated in the Super Bowl era. But if we take in the NFL championship, Vince Lombardi did it a long time ago with the Green Bay Packers. They won 3 in a row, and I do not think they're going to be able to do that. I don't think Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are going to be able to do what Vince Lombardi did back in the day. So yeah, guys, I'm going to be taking Baltimore Ravens. I think the Chiefs are just going to have that Super Bowl, like, what is it called, that slump where they just get tired at the end of the season. They've been playing so many games. So I'm going to be taking the Baltimore Ravens, especially with them adding Derrick Henry. And that defense has looked really great this year, guys. That defense, I shouldn't say this year. I mean last year. That defense has been looking really good. The Baltimore Ravens, if you know anything about the defense, they always have a great defense. They have like a Ravens culture where they teach great defense. I do think this is going to be a really great game, but I'm going to be taking Baltimore to move on. And if we go to the next game, the Bengals against the Bills, I'm going to be taking the Bengals to actually win at home. I'm going to be on Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow's going to end up winning that game. I think it's going to come down to where Joe Burrow is actually going to have the weapons. I know I said Josh Allen's going to be carrying this team and have a Cam Newton type year. I do believe that. I do think he's going to have a great season. I do think he's going to win MVP. But I think Joe Burrow's going to be right there in the MVP discussion. I think Joe Burrow's going to win Comeback Player of the Year this year. And I think Joe Burrow's going to have an amazing season. I think this game's going to come down to just the offensive weapons, because both of these teams' defenses are okay. They're not the best. I think they're around like 10 or 11 in defensive rank, but the offense is going to come down to Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase. He has T. Higgins. He has a running back in the backfield. Like, I think it's Joe Mixon still over there, guys. Like, this guy has weapons everywhere. And if Joe Burrow stays healthy, I think the Bengals are in for it. I'm taking the Bengals to move on to the AFC Championship and play the Ravens. And if we get down to the NFC now, guys, it's going to be the Lions taking on the Packers. And I'm going to be taking the Lions, actually. That was the hardest game for me to choose, guys. I wanted to say the Packers so bad, but I'm going with the Lions. I think this is the Lions' year to go to the NFC Championship game. I think the Lions are going to be the best team in the NFC all year. This is going to be their toughest game. But then actually, at the end of the day, I'm going to be going with the Lions. I think the Lions are going to end up moving on to the NFC Championship. It's going to be the first time in a while. I think all of these Lions fans are actually going to be happy with how great their team this year. I think they made the NFC Championship last year. I can't remember, actually. I'm having a brain fart at the moment. But yeah, the Lions, I think this is the year for them to make the NFC Championship. They're going to be the number 1 seed. They're going to get that bye. They're going to end up beating the Packers in that divisional round. They're going to move on. And if we get down to the last game now with the Cowboys versus the Rams, I think the Rams are going to go into Jerry World and beat the Cowboys. I was all over the Cowboys last year, guys. I was one of the believers that the Cowboys were going to do it last year. I think they're going to have another great season, and I think they're going to win a playoff game. I think the Cowboys are due for a playoff win, but I think the Rams are just have a great defense. They lost Aaron Donald, but they did really good in the draft. Their defense is still really good. They have offensive weapons everywhere for Matthew Stafford to throw the ball to. And yeah, guys, I think they're going to have I think they're going to be the most best team on defense and offense, like, put together like an average team, guys. I think they're going to be the best all-around team. So I'm taking the Rams, guys. I think the Rams are going to move on to the NFC Championship. And yeah, guys, that's going to be my NFC and AFC Championship game. It's going to be Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. And then I'm going to have the Lions taking on the Rams. And that's going to be a great game, guys. The Lions are going to have Jared Goff taking on Matthew Stafford. That's going to be legit. Like, imagine if that happens, that's going to be money making. Everybody's going to want to see that. So let me show you exactly how I'm going to have these games going on. Let me show you guys who I'm going to be going to the Super Bowl. That's right, everybody. I am taking the Los Angeles Rams to play against the Baltimore Ravens in this year's Super Bowl. I think Sean McVay is going to be able to out-coach Dan Campbell. I think he's a better coach. I think Jared Goff is going to be seeing ghosts in the pocket against Sean McVay. I think Sean McVay knows Jared Goff like the back of his hand, guys. I'm telling you, like, when you're going against your old coach, we've seen it with Tom Brady when he first played against Belichick. Yes, Brady won the game, but Brady had a bad game. Like, these coaches, if you're with them for a long time and you play against them, they know you. Dan Campbell doesn't really know Matt Stafford. He was there after Matt Stafford left. Dan Campbell is kind of this new era of the Lions. Jared Goff was with Sean McVay since he was a rookie. So when that game comes down to the Rams versus the Lions, I'm taking the Rams based on the coach. It's going to be a great close game, but I think it's going to come down to one of those moments where Jared Goff has to make a play, but he ends up throwing an interception or he doesn't make the play because Sean McVay knows exactly how he plays and what exactly he's going to do. So I have the Rams moving on going on to the Super Bowl and beating the Detroit Lions in Detroit. And then I have the Baltimore Ravens beating the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are a great team. I think they're going to have a highlight show this year. They're going to have a lot to prove. But Baltimore bringing in Derrick Henry is just a big thing, everybody, in my opinion. I just think Derrick Henry's going to have a great season. I'm talking about touchdown-wise. That's all around yards and everything because Lamar's going to be running the ball a little bit more. But this is the first time in Derrick Henry's career he doesn't really have to do everything. He doesn't have to carry the load like he was on the Titans. He has a lot of weapons around him. He has a good defense. He doesn't have to do everything. So I think this game with the Bengals versus the Ravens is going to come down to where the Bengals end up getting a field goal in a certain moment, but the Ravens end up getting a touchdown because in that red zone, Derrick Henry's going to get the ball into that end zone. When you're in the red zone, Derrick Henry's going to push through and he's so big, he's going to be able to get inside. So I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens to play the Los Angeles Rams this year. I think it's going to be a great Super Bowl, and let me show you guys who I think is going to win the Super Bowl. That's right, everybody. I bet all you guys were surprised. Me saying that I was a Rams fan, I bet you guys thought I was going to say the Rams are going to win this year. But no, guys, I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens to win the Super Bowl this year. I just think Derrick Henry going to that team, that defense is always great. Harbaugh always has that defense ready to play. Lamar's going to have something to prove. People have been saying that he can't win the playoff game. I know he hasn't won the playoff. He hasn't been doing good in the playoffs yet. But I think this is Lamar's year. He won not back-to-back, but he has 2 MVPs now. He has a unanimous MVP. But my point is this guy just needs a Super Bowl. And I think this is his Super Bowl of the year. I think the Baltimore Ravens are due for it. I think they're going to take on the Rams. It's going to be a great Super Bowl where we're going to have 2 great coaches going on each other, 2 good defenses, 2 explosive offenses going at each other. And it's going to be one of the best Super Bowls we've ever seen. If we get this matchup, guys, it's going to be one of the best Super Bowls. I'm telling you right now. But right now, I am taking the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to be the team to beat this year. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I think they're going to end up going to the Super Bowl from a wild card game. We haven't seen a team do that, I believe, since Aaron Rodgers did that, and I think this is Lamar's year. Lamar's going to start off in the wild card, go all the way, win the Super Bowl, and then we're going to be talking about Lamar Jackson being a top 10 quarterback of all time. So yes, guys, I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens. That's it for today's video. I'm going to get out my Chiefs versus Ravens video just in a little bit. I'll let you guys know what bets I'm making on that. I'll be back later on today. Like the video, subscribe to the page, comment, and let me guys know what you think about my predictions this year. Let me guys know your Super Bowl predictions. Let me guys know exactly what you think about everything I just said. And all right, guys, like I said, I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back later on as well. I do MMA, I do soccer, I do football, like as you guys know right now. Watch all of my videos, guys. Let's make some money. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later.